Hi, this is Dan Gilvizan, and you're listening to the GeekCast Radio Network.
Jazz here, and I am so digging the GeekCast Radio Network.
Cliff Jumper, commence countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, ToyCast. Oh, yes. Listen in to the only toy podcast you will ever need.
Hello and welcome to ToyCast. This is episode 104. That's right, folks. 104 episodes in just over a decade, 12 years, even though we took 7 years off. I'm, of course, TFG and Mike. Joining me once again is Josh the Floorburger. Hello, sir.
Howdy, howdy, howdy.
And also joining us, as per usual going forward, is Mr. A. Das Baron. Hello.
Hello, and oh my God, must I comment on how sweaty and sultry it is out today?
Well, do you have your mint julep, sir?
Well, apparently I do not.
Yeah, that's a Kentucky thing, not a Pennsylvania thing.
They're not far from each other.
Yes, they are, actually. A little bit. And thankfully, I am not sweating my devastators off here in Washington State anymore because it is only 63 degrees. Yay!
Oh, you lucky son of a gun.
And it's supposed to, tomorrow, yay, 52% for rain. Anyway, we're not here to talk about the weather. We're here to talk about toys, and it is time to break open the display case.
Don't touch!
Whoops, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Whoops.
I can just trust my cats to just knock everything down, so don't worry. I had a figure dive this morning.
That's funny.
Houston, we have a problem.
Very, very funny. Yes, and in here inside display case, this is our audio toy review type episode, and people might think I'm crazy. For those of you who have been longtime ToyCast listeners, you know we pretty much did audio toy reviews justice, I would think, with describing whatever it was that we were going to talk about and just having a good old fun discussion about it. And we're bringing that back, and it was called Display Case 12 years ago. It's called Display Case now. So, Josh, what do you got this week? Which Waterworld toy are you going to highlight?
So I'm going to highlight not a Waterworld toy, but believe it or not, a Pop.
What?
Yeah, I took a Pop out of my display case. I set it up on a little T. And had my phone go off.
Apparently the Power Rangers Pops are strong with this one.
It's Ninja Turtles, wasn't it?
That was Ninja Turtles, by the way. Mr. Know-It-All who didn't know Waterworld had toys. But I took a Pop out. I set it up on a golf tee, put a little lighter fluid on it, lit it up, and I hit it across the living room. After that happened, I busted out another one. And
sure
it is the Pollution Armor Captain Planet by, I believe it's Tiger.
Ooh.
I believe it was Tiger doing Pollution Armor Captain Planet back in the day.
Was this the just the recolor one?
It was actually a stripped down, no pun intended, a stripped down Captain Planet. So he had no action features, no special buckle features in him, so he could fly off your ring. It was just a very standard Captain Planet, regular paint colors, close to the cartoon, and he had 6 pieces of snap-on pollution armor.
Ooh.
Now, I'm assuming it's anti-pollution armor to protect against pollution, not made from pollution.
Unless he's a hypocrite and we don't know about it.
But it could be. That would be recycling. But
maybe he wants you to clean up the planet because he knows how bad of a job he's doing himself.
What is the full name of this thing again?
Captain Planet with pollution armor.
Okay. So,
Can I
fun
read the
fact.
bio card?
Yes, you can. Fun fact, folks. Funko has yet to do Captain Planet Pops.
Like I said, you can't ruin everything. For an added advantage against the evil eco-villains, Captain Planet sometimes wears a specially crafted suit of armor. This brilliant red, vacuum metallized armor is designed to protect against the corrosive effect that pollution has on our hero. Normally, if Captain Planet comes in physical contact with toxic gases, liquids, smog, or any other pollution, his superpowers would be slowly drained, sometimes leaving him helpless. The eco-villains have used this one weakness in our hero to capture him during several show episodes. Now, however, the suit protects Captain Planet from almost any attack the eco-villains may attempt. The suit can be snapped on quickly in case of surprise attack, and the special shiny coating on the armor prevents any toxic liquid from coming into contact with Captain Planet's body. The power is yours.
Basically, folks, it's Hot Rod Red without any gold. It's basically our Iron Man for Captain Planet. Oh my god, this thing. Wow. I am so glad I did not get this far into the Captain Planet toys when I was a kid.
So did I hear that right? And the card information references watching the show?
So the card information is a little weird because it blurs it being a bio card and just, hey kids, watch the show.
Yeah.
Snap on his armor. Because I don't think in the show the Planet Shoes are actually helping Captain Planet quickly snap on his torso armor before they get here.
To my knowledge, from when I had the DVD set a number of years ago, no. There was never an episode with this. This is like, oh fuck, here we go. This is like when there was it was Arctic Batman, part of the Batman Returns line or something, but like Batman that goes underwater. It's just a redeco kind of thing where you add something to the already existing toy. Because I would have remembered this in the show, and this is a toy that came out in 1994. At the
91 on the copyright.
Okay, well maybe 91. Sadly, the eBay listing I'm looking at that sold earlier this year for $80. Why? Whatever. Yeah, it's just wow. Okay. Now, why? What is it about this version of the Captain Planet action figure that you actually really, really enjoy?
So this fits some of my criteria as far as what I would have liked as a kid, is that it's show accurate. It does not have any dominating action features. The mold is, once you take the armor off, it is as standard of a Captain Planet figure as you can get. Mm-hmm. He's not very posable, but he does have open hands instead of punching hands, so he can actually do things. But the armor is kind of neat, but it just pops right off. It doesn't inhibit anything. So for me, it's a pretty ideal figure with bonuses.
Kind of reminds me of that one Goliath figure from Gargoyles.
Stone armor, yeah.
Yeah, that was much more faithful to the cartoon, but he came with all that stone armor on. Whereas the original one doesn't really look anything like him.
Yeah, the original one is made from original concept art or promo art or something. It's a little bit more gothic, a little scarier looking. But the stone armor one is the one I have on my shelf right now, and it's the same idea. It's show accurate. Different companies, though, Tiger versus Kenner, but show accurate, has a couple bonuses. You could throw the bonuses out if you wanted, but you have the most accurate version of the figure you can come up with.
Cool. What about you, Das? What are you going to talk about this week?
So today I brought my Spider-Man summoning set.
Oh, Lord.
So we all know Power Rangers.
Yes.
We all know Megazords.
Yes.
You would not have Power Rangers as you know it if it was not for Spider-Man.
Or is it Spider-Man?
That's Spider-Man. James Spider-Man.
Yeah, funny. You actually wouldn't have Power Rangers without Voltron, so there's that.
True. So this is a set of the Mecha Leopardon, because in his 1978 Tokusatsu show, Spider-Man piloted a giant leopard-looking spacecraft, which turns into a fighting robot.
So it's Mega Spider-Man, super fighting robot.
Pretty much. So this thing is... Got my ruler on me. It is approximately 7 inches tall. So this is also made of parts of die-cast. And here I was not... Like, I knew it was going to be die-cast as I pick it up here, and it makes all sorts of noises. But I was not anticipating on how much die-cast is in this. This thing is heavy. Like, it could knock you out heavy.
Yeah. It's like Optimus Primal always used to say,
Die-cast construction. It's a lost art.
So do you keep that beside your nightstand in case you need a defensive weapon late at night?
Unfortunately, I do not. I just have my centipede bucket for house centipedes. I use that as my first line of defense.
You throw the house centipedes at them, or?
No, I throw the bucket at them. Bucket
with
is more weight than a
centipedes
centipede. Though if you threw a house centipede down someone's throat, that might send them
tickle
off
a little bit, but
wow.
So
we got to talk a little bit about your self-defense mechanisms in your house.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a discussion for off-air. That's not a discussion for this show.
This thing is incredibly heavy. It comes with its own display base, which opens up to house all of its accessories and to display some of its accessories. It comes with a Spider-Man who is roughly an inch tall. And it doesn't have the webbing on the figure, but the paint app all around is pretty good. The spider emblems on the chest and the back are really crisp. The eyes are pretty crisp, and then there are folds in the costume to make it look like it is in the show. So whereas Spider-Man has spandex in the Marvel comic version, this one kind of had a mix of like cloth and spandex, so it's a little more bunchy. The greatest thing is that he calls himself the emissary of hell. And then there's always like a big dramatic 5-angle like Michael Bay explosion shot, but instead of the explosion, it's just him posing when he transforms. So it comes with like stuff to house his additional fists. Because this is a Chogokin and it harkens back to the old 70s and 80s toys, it does include a pair of rocket-firing fists.
Nice. Including
a separate set of arms which don't have the rocket functioning power to it if you want to swap it out. A die-cast Hot Wheels-like GP7 car, which also folds into the base. The sword is vac metallized. The inscription on the display base, Leopardon, is vac metallized. But, I mean, I was going to get this regardless because this came out maybe like 2008 or so. Mm-hmm. However, last year they reissued it. But because the old one, it came with like a 7 or 8 inch Sofubi, which are like the hollow soft vinyl Spider-Man. Is this Spider-Man figure? So they swapped it out. And instead of that, you get his changer, his device, which he changes into Spider-Man. And as a changer, henshin, collector, that's something I always wanted. So that's what made the noise. And then I turned it off. There we go. You hit the one button. Plays background music.
No background music. Don't do it. We could get ixed. Don't.
Oh, okay.
You can do sound effects and you can do vocals, but we cannot have, sadly, podcasting has changed to the point where any record company that might hear music in a podcast will come after the podcast. We just got strict for Mayhem Mike's episode 28, which was a podcast that was episode that's 2018, so it's at least 4 years old at this point. 4 or 5. I can't do math. You have to be very careful with doing anything with music and podcasts now because, heaven forbid, the record labels want their money. Gotcha. Not like we make any money doing this.
So my criteria
I've been making money. What are you guys talking about?
Sure you have.
My criteria for a good henshin device is that it has to have lights and sounds, wrist-mounted, and is spring-activated in some capacity. It has all those minus the spring-activated concept, which is fine because in the show he takes the lid of the device and manually opens it up. Now, this was going to be the highlight of the set. However, I found out that the changing Leopardon is actually much more interesting than I had expected, because unfortunately, in the show, the whole transformation device is chromed out, and it literally acts as like a ring around his wrist, whereas this is painted in silver, and it comes with a Velcro strap that you put around your wrist. And then the little TV screen is a decal, which I think because of the heat, it's starting to warp a little bit, which is unfortunate. I found that out today.
How hot is it by you?
90.
Yeah, it's over 90, and I've had the AC off all day. The heat rises terribly in this apartment. But it says Spider-Man on the outside, and I pre-ordered this because with a lot of Japanese things, you don't know how it's going to go on the aftermarket. So I found an outlet that would sell it to me, and I got it for retail price, I guess. So it has been on display ever since.
Cool. Awesome. For me, I am going back to 2016, I want to say, because as people who have listened to this show in the past decade or so know that I already went through all my original toy collection that I was getting from 2006 to 2011, so now I have to go through the current toy collection, and we're starting with a Pop that actually is in storage. However, I have numerous pictures of him that I can look at. And that would be the 2016 GameStop exclusive. Thank God the GameStop exclusive Funko Pop stickers have changed since 2016. That would be the WWE 2K exclusive of Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Ooh. So what's the difference in the sticker?
The difference now compared to then?
Yeah.
It's a giant flippin' sticker like in the middle of it, and the difference now is it's shorter and more in the bottom right corner.
Okay.
This one is like more in the... I'll try to throw it in the chat here. It's more in the corner of the boxes now, but it used to be like right dead center.
Okay.
And that's just not good. So yeah, you should be able to see that.
Yeah,
yeah, and I actually was not even, like, I had heard of Funko, I heard of Pops, but I was still in my phase of, I'm fine without toys, I don't need toys, I'm okay, and I was. I mean, like I've said on this show before, like I said in the 5-hour episode 100 that we did, in 2011 I had to sell the toy collection I had, and I was fine just admiring. I wasn't even really paying attention to toy stuff after that kind of thing. And once the podcast ended in 2014 at the time, I moved on to other things. I moved on to movies and comics and cartoons and whatever else. And I'm not even sure how I found Funko. I walk into my local comic shop at the time in Louisville, Kentucky. It was called The Great Escape. And this was on Free Comic Book Day that year. So generally, the rule is, folks, if you're going to Free Comic Book Day for the comics, that's fine. However, if you can support the shop in any way, whether you're buying other comics that aren't the free ones, or if you're there to just help the shop, this was my way of helping the shop. And I think I got them for like, I don't know, under $15. I'd like to say. And I just dig it. I've always loved Stone Cold ever since the 90s. I just always have, and hence where the sound effect comes from for breaking the glass here in the podcast, for breaking the display case. I like his character. I love what he did with it. I think he's an awesome dude. And I'm noticing, looking at several of these pictures that I have, I'm like, oh crap, none of this version of Stone Cold actually says 316 on it, I don't think. I'd have to look it up in the Funko app to see like the back of him or something, but yeah, the vest on it says Austin on the left, and it says 2K at the bottom on the right, because it's the WWE 2K video game version of him. I just think he's cool. And he looks like he has a better eyebrow than The Rock, though, at this point. I'm serious. Look at that eyebrow. It looks so mean.
Yeah, he's looking a little grouchy.
Yes, he is. And this is what just put me down the path of Pops.
I'm just going to be nice. I'm going to choose to be nice.
You are. Of course you are.
So you wouldn't even like cut the tape on the back of that just to take a look at his back?
I don't have it here. That's the thing. It's in storage. That's the problem.
From time to time.
Yeah, it's in storage in Indiana of all places. But no, like I said, I absolutely dig him. I think he's great. I think he's fun. I think that the 2K game stuff that they were doing was amazing at the time. I know wrestling video games have not always been the greatest games in the world. So there is that. But no, I think it's great. And I think it's also great that they've actually done other versions of him since this version. Like there's one with him versus The Rock in a wrestling ring. There's one with him where he's metallic and he's holding a belt. He's holding a championship belt, and then there's one with him, with just with him. So very, very cool.
When they make the wrestling ones, do they focus more on like the 90s and afterwards, or do they also do the retro ones?
Oh, they've done WWE and Funko. They've done so many of them. I can't even imagine how many Hulk Hogan versions there are.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, I can pull up the Funko app right now. WWE.
I mean, one thing for sure is that with those Funko Pops and the wrestlers, there are some that can go for $400, $500, $600, especially if they get signed. Holy cats!
Yeah. They have multiple versions of Macho Man. They even have Mr. T.
Mucho Macho.
Yeah. They have the New Day. They have CM Punk. They have multiple versions of The Rock. They just did the Miz a couple years ago. Bret the Hitman Hart. Bray Wyatt, if you want Bray Wyatt, whatever. Yeah, but there are multiple versions, and it's not just the modern people. Like there's one of Mick Foley, AJ Styles, and I know those are more modern guys, but there are others. So there's one of Rey Mysterio. Oh, geez. Man, trying to find this blue Rey Mysterio. Oh, boy. According to the Pop Price Guide, his value is $260. Yikes. But yes, they do multiple. They have a Hulk and Mr. T 2-pack. Wow, I did not know that. That's cool. Anyway, so yeah, Stone Cold is what got me into Funko, and then Yvonne Craig, Batman 66, Batgirl is the second thing that got me into Funko, and haven't looked back since. Now, I don't collect everything with Funko, because they have their mitts in so many licenses.
Oh, yeah.
But they're
I mean, I don't... Marvel Legends isn't to the extreme that Pops are, but yeah, that's one of my main things. But I've also at this point have a lot of what I want, so I've been cherry picking.
Yeah, I have just been. It's funny, kind of talking about the Pop thing. I think I already had Battle Armor He-Man and Battle Armor Skeletor, and they're essentially just the normal He-Man and Skeletor. Except, obviously, Battle Armor He-Man has the axe instead of the sword. And they have their chest thing, whatever. But I don't just want the normal... Like, I have Slime Pit He-Man, which I'll talk about in another episode of this show. But I just got Terror Claws Skeletor, which is a Target exclusive. So, yeah. It's It's awesome. It's fun. We all have our collections. We all have what we like. I mean, it's not our fault that they actually made Waterworld toys. It's, our fault for those that like to collect them.
Ha ha ha.
I'm just an observer.
I sat here through your whole slithering. I got a Stone Cold Pop, got me on the Funko path, and I was polite and I let it go. But you just come right back with a big old swift kick to my teeth. I see how it is.
So you want to know something? And this is funny.
I don't want to. So thank you for giving me the option. I not talk.
And this is not going to happen on this show, but
this fight maybe.
I completely really. I've only you always hear about movies that are so bad that no one wants to watch them. But yet there's that one person in the room that absolutely, like me with Super Mario Brothers, I will defend that movie until my dying breath. Yes, it wasn't the Mario movie we deserved, but it's the one we got.
No, but I love Battlefield Earth. I tried watching it, I couldn't get past the first 10 minutes of it.
Well, now
I was expecting it to be fun bad. No, this is just bad.
Hey, it could be worse. It could be Double Dragon.
Oh.
I would put Double Dragon above Battlefield Earth any day.
Well, yeah, but I mean, Super Mario Brothers is definitely not as bad as Double Dragon was. I just recently watched Double Dragon again, and some of the...
But the villains are basically the same.
Yeah, they kind of sort of are, but some of the vocals in that, I don't know if it was the version I was watching or what. Anyway, so I go and I don't want to, because I can't afford to pay any money to actually watch Waterworld. And yes, I know, I'm sure there are less than legal means to actually go find it. I'm too lazy and don't really care enough to do so. So I read the plot. What? What are you going to say?
Nothing.
So I read the plot on Wikipedia, and I'm like, God, this movie sounds god-awful. I don't even have to watch it. I can just read how bad it is.
But it was the most expensive motion picture of its time.
Yeah.
Therefore, it must be good.
So my wife and I just watched Waterworld recently. It took us 2 nights to finish it. It's a long... Well, if you watch, the full extended cut of it, it's about a 2.5, almost 3-hour movie. So not a bad thing to put into 2 separate nights.
Is it that long?
The full extended, it's called the Ulysses cut.
God.
Oh, God. Hell no. I just want to see what was released in theaters and what actually made money in theaters. I don't want to see no 3-hour Lord of the Rings version of a really bad film.
Well, so you can really tell a difference between how they were trying to portray the main character, and that's why the movie that came out in the theaters, it got hacked up to make the character seem more heroic, but it made a lot of the transition material and a lot of the story even more hard to follow and more fragmented. So believe it or not, the full version makes sense of a lot of stuff, but portrays Kevin Costner's character as kind of just a jerk with no redeeming qualities.
In the theatrical version, I just remember him kind of being a dick, and then all of a sudden he isn't.
He goes swimming with the kid in the movie, and all of a sudden, hey, I'm going to defend her. But in the full cut of the movie, he actually tries to sell the woman and the kid to a slave colony at one point, and she calls him on it, and he's like, you didn't tell me that the markings on her back mean something nobody knows. And you don't really ever find out why he actually ends up caring for anybody in the end. He kind of just brings him to dry land, dumps him off, and leaves.
Yeah, Demolition Man was a better futuristic movie than this.
They were tires.
I will entirely agree with you on
co-op Japanese culture.
Demolition Man is a phenomenal well done movie, and
it is,
still
with all
very
sorts of uncomfortable Stallone close-ups in the opening scene.
well. Let's not even get into the fact that it's possible that the Sandra Bullock character was originally written to be his daughter. Yeah. And that might be why Lori Petty did not stay on the film.
How many seashells do you use?
It's not how many, it's how you use them. Apparently there was a whole process to explain how 3 seashells get used. You can look it up.
I have no interest.
You say that, but
no interest whatsoever. I like the movie. That's about it. You can keep your seashells to yourself, Sally.
Keep them by the seashore.
Hey, that movie also has another really good story about its toy line.
Oh, yeah. Oof. Just as bad.
It's better. Waterworld is better than the Demolition Man.
They're more original than the Demolition Man one.
For sure. You don't have Kevin Costner with the belt buckle from another character on it. Except in
Robin Hood.
Well, yeah. In Robin Hood line, yes, he does have... who is it? Green Arrow's belt buckle on, but in the Waterworld line, he does not have that. He has a pink top on because he changes up his outfits to go with his mood as he sails the 7 seas.
Solid.
I'm speechless.
Someone's going to wind up giving him an entire episode, or either that, or he'll take over the airwaves and he'll give himself an entire episode dedicated to this.
It's funny you mention that because
see, I was not going to bring up Waterworld in this entire episode. I just want to point out it wasn't me who brought it up.
Right. Yeah, I didn't bring it up. I just made a snide remark about it, and then you went into your whole spiel.
You brought it up. I was
not really.
Okay.
So, yes, in future Toy Talk episodes, 2 different topics we have, one of which they're almost kind of the same. We could combine these into, but I like my title for one of them. The Watering Hole of Waterworld, where Josh gets to wax poetic about how good, quotation marks, good, the Waterworld toys actually are.
Never said it was good.
And then those god-awful movie toys, because there really are some god-awful movie toys out there.
But what I wouldn't give for just some of the variety that you could have thanks to movie toy lines right now, there's just not a lot of variety.
No, there's not.
That, and there's not a lot of toys on shelves either, so there is that.
I wouldn't mind seeing some of that variety come back, even if the movie and the toys were terrible. It just kind of felt good.
So you're clamoring for some of that Snake Eyes movie line then?
That if that gets Joe's on the shelves for somebody, awesome.
So that trailer did not look good.
Yeah, that trailer. I don't know what that is. It just, I don't know. And yeah, you're right. I mean, hey, if it does get Joe's on the shelf, great, because I think I've seen exactly one G.I. Joe thing every time I've gone to the toy stores out here.
Well, it certainly did yesterday, because I found not 1, but 6 Major Bloods on Peg.
And you didn't text me?
Yes, he did. He actually sent you a picture of all of them in his cart.
Yeah, they're all mine. I don't want to rub it in too badly.
No, I'm just going to sit here and not have my Major Blood.
Mm-hmm. Who knows? Maybe he's saving it for your birthday or Christmas or something.
No, I've been trying to hunt down that Kamen Rider X8 model kit for you.
Oh.
Well, that might already be living with me.
Okay, fine, good enough.
Way to make it creepy, folks. Anything else we want to... These display case episodes, folks, are not meant to be long at all, so we each talked about the toy that we wanted to talk about. We've brought up some other things. Is there anything else you would like to impart on the audience, Das?
Should remember, Spider-Man, emissary of hell. Never forget.
Man, he's really taken over Ghost Rider's job, hasn't he? Oh boy. Oof. Nick Cage, Spider-Man on a motorcycle. Yikes, that's not good.
No, that actually sounds pretty awesome.
Oh god, what if they just did a Hollywood version, or Japan does their own movie version of this 70s Spider-Man, but recast it with Nicolas Cage instead?
That would be kind of freaky. Maybe
I think that's the point.
I mean, how many different movies have we brought up as being bad movies that would be better if Nicolas Cage was in this starring role?
It's true. No, like, I get so many recommendations for Nicolas Cage movies, and then I feel like half of them aren't very good at all. And then the other one's like, oh my god, he's had such an amazing performance in this. And I'm like, oh, you need to watch that one where he's trapped in a Chuck E. Cheese knockoff. And I saw it, and it's like, he literally has no lines. He just grunts and drinks soda all day.
But imagine if he was in Waterworld.
The movie would actually be good for once.
Or imagine him as King Koopa in the Super Mario Brothers movie.
No, that wouldn't work. Dennis Hopper was fine with that.
Okay, no, that's true.
No. Now, if Nicolas Cage wanted to be Mario or Luigi, because we all know Bob Hoskins hated the Mario role.
Can you imagine Nicolas Cage just shouting, "Trust the fungus"?
Sadly, yes, I can, because that's not the worst thing he's ever said in a film.
Well, after the "Why did it burn" line in Burning Man, "Trust the fungus," I think I'm just throwing it out there. I think we need a top 10 list of movies that would be better with Nicolas Cage.
All of the Saw films? I don't know. Anyway, any final thoughts besides Nicolas Cage movies from you, Mr. Floorburger?
I am going to keep on bringing the weird, obscure figures I have to the display case, and the ones that people ask me the most questions about, saying, I did not know that existed, and why does it exist, and why do you have it?
Awesome.
Hello, geeks and geekettes! Looking for a podcast that covers a vast array of topics? Then check out Altered Geek Unleashed, where we discuss our thoughts on this week's geeky news, tech, gaming, television shows, movies, cartoons, comics, and more. So, get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks. Every Friday on the GeekCast Radio Network.
One of the primary themes of ToyCast is that we focus on times past. We are who we are today because of the nostalgic memories and experiences from our childhood. Obviously, we wouldn't be doing this podcast if it weren't for the toys that make us so addicted to nostalgia. Times Past Collectibles in Chicago, Illinois is your primary go-to collectibles store to reclaim the toys that drove those memories and experiences. Specializing in action figures from all of your favorite toy lines like Star Wars, G.I. Joe, He-Man, Transformers, Silverhawks, Ghostbusters, TMNT, Mask, and more. Get your dose of nostalgia with a shop run by collectors for collectors. Whether you are looking for loose G.I. Joe, Ice Cream Soldier, a packaged Leonardo, recent Star Wars Black Series figures, or an AFA-graded Boba Fett, Times Past Collectibles is bringing you back to your childhood. Visit the shop at 1450 North Ashland Ave in Chicago, just 2 blocks south of Ashland and North Ave. Call the shop at 847-830-1031 or email timespastcollectibles1982@gmail.com. You can also find them on Facebook. Just search Times Past Collectibles because, folks, it's past time that you get your collectibles. Thank you for joining us here on ToyCast. If you'd like to get in contact with us or leave feedback for the show, there are several ways to do so. Visit the website geekcastradio.com where you can comment on this and all of our other episode posts. Send an email to feedback@geekcastradio.com and put in the subject line ToyCast 104 display case response or something. Here are all the ways you can listen to us nowadays: Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, and of course the home where our files exist, Spreaker, as well as any other podcatching client you choose to use. But I prefer you use one of these. Leave the show's feedback in iTunes. Yes, iTunes still is a thing. Follow us on Twitter. I am at TFG and Mike. You can also follow at GeekCast Radio and at TF ToyCast for the show. Das, what is your Twitter?
You always ask me Twitter. I don't use my Twitter.
Well, you need to start, damn it.
I don't feel like it. 144 characters is too much.
Actually, it's 280 now.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. It's at A-Baron, all one word, folks. There's no period there.
Or any.
What about you, Josh? What's yours?
I think I'm still sticking with just Floorburger. I don't really post very often, and if I do, I'm trying to make snide comments to people who will never respond.
Mm-hmm. Become a fan on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/Geekcast Radio Network. You can also search out TF ToyCast over there as well and find the podcast page. Also, check out the Toy World Order group over there as well. They have a bunch of fun in that group as well. For now, I am TFG and Mike with
Floorburger.
Join us next time when we will be talking more toys here on ToyCast. These are not meant to be super long. Like, we don't have to be here forever. So, we each go, we talk about whatever toy we're going to talk about, and then that's it. It's simple. It's easy. It's nothing that's going to take 2 hours, I don't think.
Josh.
Yeah. 2 hours of eating burgers on the floor. Ugh, you table elitist.
I actually...
Some of us are single and don't like to eat at the table.
And some of us are married and don't eat at the table, so come on, man. Because we just don't eat at the table in my house. We eat in the living room, sitting at the coffee table. We have two tables.
That's what tray tables are for.
No, we have a really nice coffee table. We sit on the floor. Cat sits in my lap. Kind of go through the whole thing. It works.
Oh Lord.
Human germ.